James on cheer from Middle Easy. Happy to be joined by Cory Sandhagen, who's got another big fight, this time against Chito Vera, February 18th, UFC Fight Night. Cory, how's it going, man? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too, James.
Yes, I think we're right on the cusp. To me, the 3rd is like the last day I think you can say Happy New Year. What's your policy on that? Because some people are weird about it. They're like, hey, we just had, it's been like a week or something. But I think we're in that range now. To me, I think 3-4 days, you're probably still good, right? So
that sounds like a Canadian policy, man. We don't have nice policies like that.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, there you go. I like it. I called out already. How were your holidays, man? Obviously, we knew about the fight sort of during the holidays, but did you get to enjoy yourself?
Yeah, they were fine. I spent some time with my family on Christmas, and then New Year's I was in bed at 10. I really needed some sleep on New Year's, so I pretty much spent New Year's sleeping all day. It was great.
Hey, listen, I like the honesty here. It's not like you're trying to fabricate some crazy story for New Year's Eve, right? That's great, man. So obviously we're excited to see this fight. It's finally come together. I guess the only bummer here is it being at the Apex. What were your impressions of that when the fight got announced?
I don't really care too much on it. Like, I care this much about pretty much everything besides the fight. And I would have liked to fight at a bigger place only because I really miss the days of having a bunch of my friends come to the fights, a bunch of my training partners, a bunch of my family just showing up and being around that week. Like, that was always really fun. I almost even forget what it was like now because it was so long ago. But I do miss that piece. But if they want to put us at the Apex, it makes no difference to me. As long as I leave with a win, that's all that I'm there for.
So there was no pushback being like, hey, this is a pretty exciting fight. Don't you think you could put this in front of a crowd?
I would have to like fake the energy to care about that. So
okay.
Yeah. So I don't, I like I said, it matters like this much.
Okay. And you might have the same response here, but did you see Sean O'Malley chiming in on this fight saying that it being at the Apex is actually a disadvantage to you? What did you make of that?
I think that Sean's projecting like his feelings about fighting at the Apex for me, because me and him do have like more or less similar styles because we're built the same. But I don't really mind fighting in a small cage. I actually appreciate the challenge of it. I like having the guys get closer to me. It makes fighting in a bigger cage that much easier. So that's his projections, but I don't really mind. I appreciate the challenge of it.
Okay. I like it, man. Does it add a bit more with the fact that there was a bit of back and forth going into this to the point of where you actually had to make a video? I give you credit. And by the way, I think fighters, if you have some, trash talk on social media, just make a video because then you can get your point across a lot better. But does that add a bit more to this fight?
A little bit. I don't really like when fighters tell half narratives. Like, I don't really appreciate when we're professional fighters, man. I don't think Chito's scared to fight me. I don't think I'm scared to fight him. I don't think that any of these guys are afraid to fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
My own belief, that might be a projection of mine also, but I don't really think that you're in the right sport if you're afraid to fight people. But I do think that it is fair to, ask for like a decent amount of time to get ready to fight certain people. I think that that's completely understandable. And the way that was phrased, and maybe it was the media doing it, but the way that it was phrased in what I watched was it was like a half narration of what had happened instead of him saying that they were trying to make that fight on 3 weeks' notice. I had just fought a month before. I just don't really appreciate like half stories. It feels like lying to me.
Yeah, and completely understandable as well, and good on you for getting the video out there to just give some clarity. So with all that said, now I mentioned the date off the top. Was this the right amount of time off for you to have your next fight?
Yeah, this is good. This was what I was asking for. This is what I had heard rumors of a long, long time ago. Even before they offered me that fight to fight him on November, I was hearing that it was going to happen in February anyways. So yeah, I'm happy with it. It's exactly what I expected, which is, nice when you're going into combat and war. I got what I was asking for, so no complaints.
Yeah, and we're really excited to see this one happen. When did the fight actually get signed? We found out over the holidays. When did you actually sign pen to paper?
Maybe
like ballpark, yeah.
I usually find out pretty close to when you guys find out, to be honest with you. I hear things like, hey, this is what they're doing. This is probably what they're going to do, but I don't really take too much of that into account because they kind of do what they want anyways. So until I have like a paper, but I got my paper like a day or two before everyone else finds out. So that's kind of how it works. But I had kind of known about that it was probably going to be Cheeto in February for quite some time. But like I said, until I get a contract, it's never really, I'm never really 100% in my brain as that's what's happening. So.
And I know I've asked you about this before, but now that it's official, how are you looking at this from a style perspective?
I like it from a style perspective. I think I have a lot more ways to win, as I think I typically do, just because I am a very technical guy. I think that the way that Cheeto's been winning isn't a highly reliable way of winning. And I think, and what I mean by that is he's losing most of his fights and then catches the person and hits him hard. I mean, the guy obviously must hit hard, but the people that he's also knocking out and dropping are people that have kind of shown signs of that happening, fairly easy for them anyways. Whereas me, I have a very good chin on me. I don't think that his puncher's chance is a super reliable way to win. I think that as far as wrestling and grappling goes, I have the nod there. In the striking, like I said, he has a puncher's chance, but as far as being technical and having more tools, being more athletic, and having a more creative style, I think that all of those have the nod in my favor also. So I think as long as I don't get hit with any hard shit, I think that I'll walk out of the cage a winner.
Just playing devil's advocate here, because I've heard this argument from other people saying that people could say the same thing about the 2 wins that you had that were finishes. Marlon Moraes, who's obviously, I think, retired officially now, and then Frankie Edgar as well. What do you say to those critics?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with them partly. But I would also say that that's not something that I rely on. I think I was beating Marlon even before I had knocked him out. Frankie didn't get to go that far, but I'm not like getting beat up and then finishing people. And that's kind of what is happening to Marlon. It's not like Marlon's going out and like beating the shit out of people and then finishing them. That's not his story in his fights. So it's just not reliable.
Yeah. Okay. No, I like the honesty there. And cross training. I know this is something we talked about after your last fight, after the win over Song. You mentioned doing some cross training. What has that looked like from then until now? What have you been up to, and what do you plan on doing? I should say.
I've just been taking my like monthly visits out to Virginia to train with Ryan. Still doing that. He's coming out next week, and then I'm going out to him the following week, and then Sergio Pettis is going to come out and help me the following week after that. So. For this fight, we actually have like some really badass kickboxers on the team. A guy named Josh Marsh, a guy named Newfell Al Khazri, and then Taiwan, who isn't the best kickboxer in the world, but is a hell of a wrestler, Taiwan Claxton. He's going to push me in that area. So I have all of the training partners that I more or less need. Ryan's going to come out just to help me improve in my wrestling and my grappling. And then Sergio's going to come just give me a different look. And I like being around Sergio. He's just a really good guy too. So yeah, that's what camp is going to look like. I'm maybe going to try to get a couple other guys out, but those are the for sure's right now.
I guess no Rafion Stotts, because not really comparable to Chito, right?
Yeah, Rafion, I would love to just be around and hang out and train with Rafion anyways, but yeah, maybe I'll save that favor for later when I'm maybe fighting a Marab or a Henry or something in the future.
And obviously he didn't compete on the last Bellator card, but we just saw the Bellator versus Rizin event. Do you like those cross promotion things? Do you wish the UFC would be more open to that?
I don't really think that the UFC has to, because they kind of are
They're the
like
premier brand, yeah.
Gold standard. But yeah, those fights were awesome. Those guys in Bellator, like AJ McKee is one of my favorite guys to watch right now. He's just like a phenomenal fighter. I would love to see him fight in the UFC one day. I think that would be amazing, because I would really like to see how he does in the UFC. So yeah, I loved watching that show. It was cool. It was in Japan, which is just like even more awesome. So yeah.
Is that something you'd ever want to do, is compete on New Year's Eve?
Oh, I don't really think about holidays, to be honest with you, James. Like,
Well, I just mean like it's sort of a tradition, like in Japan to fight on New Year, like in Japan on New Year's Eve is kind of what I meant. Is that something that you would want to do?
yeah, Japan would be badass.
Hmm.
Japan would be amazing any time of the year. I would love to fight in Japan. What one of like the things I used to do in my earlier career, like as I was just starting to get into MMA and stuff, is I would really love watching K1 fights, which were just like sold out Japanese arenas. Uh, and that was like that always is in my brain because that's a lot of those guys are who I learned from just watching, and and yeah, having that experience would be really really awesome.
Your corner for this fight, anything different there? Who's going to be in the cage with you?
Christian Allen, Carrington Banks, Ryan Hall, same three. And yeah, it was a good corner last time. Last time they did a really really awesome job, better than I think that they've ever done. And yeah, so we're getting more and more on the same page. Adding Ryan in has been really helpful, and yeah, I'm happy with those three.
I know people are going to ask me about this, but I got to get the Cory Sandhagen insight. Is there any update on Ryan if he's going to fight again? Anything you can share?
Oh, I do believe that he wants to fight again. He's wrapping up his last bit of surgeries, I think. So
Oh, I see. Okay.
yeah, he should be good to go. I would anticipate in maybe the next few months, I think is what he was telling me. But yeah, he's definitely I believe going to fight again.
Love it. How's this fight playing out? How do you see it going down?
Uh, Cheeto's going to be a tough guy to finish. That's not going to be the game plan. I'm not going to overexert my energy trying to finish a guy that's very hard to finish. But I do think that I have all of the advantages in this fight. I think Cheeto holds a puncher's chance. Like I said, not the most reliable way to win, especially when you're fighting the guys at the top. Um, so I foresee me out kickboxing him, me out wrestling him, and me out grappling him. I don't really see, honestly, where Cheeto has a nod in this fight other than the power. I fought a lot of guys with a lot of power in the past and have done pretty well. So um, I think it's just going to be your standard Cory Sandhagen fight where I'm going to mix it up a little bit, like always now, and I'm just going to be the badass kickboxer that I am.
There's a big title fight a week before you that Alex Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev, lightweight title fight. I was just curious your thoughts on that fight and how you think that could play out.
I'm going to root for Volk, not because I dislike Islam, but I like Volk. I like the chance that he's taking. I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people. I remember when I watched him fight, it was either Chad Mendez or it was Aldo or someone, but when Volk got taken down, the way he stood up looked aesthetically so powerful and so technical that it like amazed me. Like he stood up as if no one was even on top of him, and I think Volkanovski is going to do a lot better in the wrestling area than a lot of people think. I don't think Islam's going to have that much success holding him down as people think. I think that he'll definitely win some rounds. It's not like it's going to be an ass whooping, but I think Volk is going to do a lot better than I think people are anticipating.
Would you give him the edge though in that fight? I think right now Islam, as expected, a big betting favorite in that one. Do you agree with the odds there, or do you think the line should be closer? Or like, who do you see winning though? Do you think Islam will win? I know you're rooting for Volk, but do you see him actually winning?
I think if I was a bet man, I'd probably bet on Islam only because the size really does matter.
Mhm.
Islam does cut a lot of weight. I think that he has really good coaches, and I think that he really knows what he's doing. He has his path to victory, and he does a good job. And he's physical and big enough in order to do it. So I think just because of the weight, if they were in the same weight class, I would say Volk. But because it's a weight class difference, I would probably teeter towards Islam.
Yeah, and of course we're talking hypothetically betting. I know you guys can't bet anymore, unfortunately, with that whole situation. But that's a story for another day, right?
I didn't even know that was the rule.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah. So this whole, I don't know if you've been following this James Krause situation, but basically because of that, fighters like yourself cannot bet on fights anymore.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I didn't bet on fights anyways, but oh, okay, that's interesting. I guess good to know.
You're always in a main event, it seems. So I think every fight that you've had, at least recently or throughout, most of your career, has been important fights. But you got to think this is going to get you back to that title shot. Is that kind of your understanding here with the matchup?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Last time I checked, O'Malley doesn't have a contract yet, so I think I go out and I do really well against Cheeto. I could see me and Sean fighting right afterwards, depending on what happens between Sterling and Cejudo. But that's the fight that I'll be asking for. I don't really, Sean fought a bunch of not the highest quality of opponents and then barely beat a guy in a 3-round fight. I don't think really that should get you a title shot, in my opinion. I think, in the top 5 for the last 3 years. I've gotten one title shot, and it was a short notice one. So I think that I'm more deserving than he is of the title shot. I know that he has a bunch of hype. I know that I wasn't super active here, but I'm going to have a really active year this year, and I think I'll just get people believing in me again because I did take some time off last year. I'm gonna have a busy year this year, and I'm gonna do it this year.
Do you think Cejudo and Sterling happens? I mean, we've heard for a while now that Cejudo's going to come back, and I know he's in the testing pool now. But do you think that actually happens, that fight?
I think it is. Last I heard, I think it's gonna happen. But yes, I think it'll happen.
Okay. Who do you favor in that fight if they were to match up?
I think I think because again, Sterling is so much bigger, or going to be so much bigger than Cejudo. I think that Sterling will likely take it.
Mhm.
I think that the wrestling is going to cancel each other out. I think that it's going to be a kickboxing fight more or less. Sterling will definitely try to take his back, but I don't really see Cejudo giving his back to him. And then I think that it's just going to be a kickboxing fight where Sterling's going to be a lot bigger and a lot funkier, and that's going to be hard for Cejudo to deal with. And Cejudo is going to be a lot smaller than Sterling too, which I think will matter.
And I'm glad you brought up the size because I don't know if you saw Cheeto. He came out recently and said that Sterling being so big for the weight class is like cheating. Did you see that?
Yeah, I think that that's Cheeto's just a provocative guy. He likes provoking people. He likes just saying things like that. I don't even know that he believes some of this stuff that he's saying. I think he's just a provocative personality, and that's the way that he is. I don't really think it's cheating. If you can cut the weight, then sure, cut the weight. Everyone does it.
Mhm.
I don't really care too much if someone has 5 or 10 pounds difference on me. If it was like a 20-pound difference, then like, yeah, that's cheating. But I don't really see how someone could do that without seriously damaging themselves. So 5, 10 pounds makes no difference to me.
Someone you fought recently and used to train with, I guess, back in the day is TJ Dillashaw. He announced his retirement. Were you surprised by that, or do you think that was probably the right call with all the injuries he's had?
I think that that's the right call for TJ. I think he really blew it in his last title shot. I don't really know even who the UFC would match him up with. He's getting a little bit older. He's set in life. I do know that TJ is one of the most competitive guys that I know. So I think that that's the only thing that's going to keep him in the loop, and or at least keep his imagination in the world of fighting. But I don't think it would be like a wise warrior move to continue to fight when he's getting older and he's well off right now.
Well, and there's some thoughts that MMA retirements, they never really last. Look at Marlon, right? He retired earlier this year and then came back and fight to PFL, I should say. Do you think TJ will stay retired?
I think he'll stay retired. I think TJ is a pretty smart guy. I wonder how much of the becoming not retired is them missing the sport, and then how much of it is them realizing where can I make that much money in one night anywhere else. Like maybe like real life kind of kicks them in the ass a little bit after they retire. So I wonder how much of that is each of those, but I don't really foresee TJ coming back because he needs a lot more money. I think that TJ is probably doing pretty well for himself. So the only thing that would bring him back is the desire to compete, and like I said, that's just not a wise move with where he is in his life, in my.
No, no, absolutely. And I don't think we've spoken since his fight against Sterling, which clearly he was injured going in. And I know a lot of you fighters, when you do compete, you are, not 100%. But what did you make of that? Because some people felt like that might have been a missed opportunity for another bantamweight to get a shot when we didn't even really get much of a fight. Like from the opening bell, it was clear that Sterling was injured. Dillashaw was injured. What was your reaction to that?
I thought that it wasn't cool. I think he didn't handle that situation like a gentleman. I think that while you don't have to care super deeply and compassionately about your opponents, because it's hard to do that when you're competing against them at a high level, I do think that you have to have like some levels of compassion uh, for the other people that are in your division. And I think that he showed a giant lack of compassion and caring about the other people in his division. That's his way of living. That's I don't really judge it too harshly, but I do think that it was not that cool of a move. I will also like commend Sterling on at least suggesting that he might move up to 145 so that his buddy Marab can
Yeah.
come in and have his shot at being a world champ. I think that that's showing a level of respect and compassion for the people that are supposed to be your opposition.
Yeah.
Granted, that's like one of Sterling's really close buddies. I still do think that that is like a really cool thing because Marab, while I haven't spent a lot of time with Marab, I can tell he's a very sweet guy. And and I think Sterling knows that. And I think that Sterling offering up that opportunity to Marab is super, super commendable.
Just two more quick questions. I can hear your dog probably wants his walk right now. The taking a sharp turn here. Some tragic news over the holidays. Stephan Bonner passing away. Did he have any impact on you at all in terms of your career? I know different weight classes and all that, but a lot of people look at that fight with Forrest Griffin as getting a lot of people into MMA.
Yeah, yeah. He had a giant impact on the sport. Of course, everyone remembers the Griffin Bonner fight. That was one of the best fights of all time. Early in the UFC's career. Um, I hope his family is dealing with it okay. I think that the people, or I hope that the people that are close to him are dealing with it okay. And he definitely left his mark on the sport, which is something that we're all trying to do, and he accomplished that. So it was a life worth living.
Are you a guy that has any New Year's resolutions or any, you set goals or anything like that? And if so, are you able to share any here today in the interview?
I do have some goals. I definitely want to be champ this year. I want to fight 3 times at least this year, which I think is realistic. I'm starting a little bit of a business that I'm going to get that going. I want to start thinking about my own gym
Oh,
here in
cool.
years. Not anytime super soon, but it is something that I want to give some thought towards. So yeah, so I got some other things going in my life. I'll be getting married this year.
That's
Um,
right. Congrats.
oh,
When's the date again?
it's in September.
Oh, cool. Good
Yeah,
time of year. That's when I got married too. So
yeah, yeah. It's really pretty around this time here in Colorado in September. So I got that going on. So yeah, it'll be a really nice year, hopefully, if everything goes accordingly.
and I think you've mentioned this to me, and I've talked to teammates, even like random teammates of yours, like Ty Flores, for example, like who's not even in your weight class, like just talking about the presence you have in the gym, and it really does seem like coaching and that is something in your future. Is that accurate, or would you rather be more on sort of the managerial side of things with like a gym?
Oh no, one of my favorite parts. Well, I'm super involved. Um, a lot more than I think a lot of other fighters are, and a lot more than I think people really realize. But uh, every local show, I'm at the local shows cornering the amateur guys on the team that we have fighting. Like I think we had one that was last month. I think I cornered 5 people that night.
Nice.
Um, I coach the kids 3 days a week. I coach the adults twice a week. I'm in the gym all the time. I spend a good amount of time like just guiding some of the other amateurs and lower level professionals, just in the right way to do things. That means technically and how to act as a person sometimes too. So yeah, I'm super involved, and definitely coaching is something that really fills my heart up. So that's something that I kind of plan on doing for the rest of my life, or as long as my body will let me.
And before we go, I see you're in the new place. How did all that go? Because you're in a new house, right? You and your soon-to-be wife, right?
Yep, we're in a new place. We were without a fridge for about 2 weeks, which was horrible.
What happened there? Oh, it just took a while to come in?
Yeah, it just took a while to come in, and
Okay.
then also just like poor planning. But yeah, we're all settled into our new place. It's really nice. It's like a little bit closer to the city in Denver, so it's I guess a little bit more exciting. But yeah, the dogs took to it okay. They threw up for about the first week, like every single day, which was uh, challenging. But everyone's all settled in, and then my sister's gonna move in next month with us, so.
Nice.
Uh, be living with my sister. So good thing it's a pretty decently sized place.
That's great. Is your sister older or younger?
She's my younger sister.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, well that's good. Big bro helping out with everything. And is it nice? Because I don't know. Like I'm sure is did you own a house before and it's just buying another one, or were you renting before?
No. So now I'm renting the one that I was in before that I owned to a couple guys on the team, and then that will hopefully be what I do with this place after a couple years too, and then maybe settle down when we move out of this place, but then keep those places as rentals. I don't ever really want to like fight for paychecks. I want to have it always be fun.
Yeah.
I want to retire and then not come out of retirement.
Doesn't Neil Magny do that too? Someone on your team I know owns another place and then rents it out. I can't remember if it was Neil or not.
Yeah, that's where I got the idea. Neil's super smart, man.
I know.
Neil owns a lot of places. He's doing it the right way, and yeah, Neil's definitely the inspiration for me doing things this way. Also,
Cory, thanks for doing this, man. Always appreciate it. If there's anyone you'd like to thank before we get out of here, sponsors, social media, you name it, I'll give you the last word.
nope, that's it. Please just watch my fights. The social media stuff. I guess follow me because it matters now. So yep, Cory Sandhagen MMA on Instagram. And yeah, hope you have a good New Year's, James.
Thank you. I appreciate it.